eles não têm.
As dawn gradually spread its gentle light across the savanna and sparse woodlands of Tanzania, the first rays of sunlight illuminated the vast grasslands, while many wild animals began searching for food across the open landscape. At the camp, the group of indigenous hunters also woke before sunrise to prepare for a new hunting expedition. They carefully checked their bows, arrows, knives, and ropes, making sure every tool was in perfect condition. Some tested their bowstrings, organized their arrows, and inspected their equipment one final time before departure. While the hunting dogs were fed and ready for the journey, several young men of the tribe took the opportunity to practice archery at fixed targets. Once every preparation was complete, the hunting party quietly left the camp and began another hunt across the vast African savanna. After moving deeper into the savanna, the indigenous hunters unexpectedly witnessed a lion bursting from the tall grass and bringing down its prey in the middle of the open plain. The group immediately stopped and silently observed from a safe distance. As the lion stood beside its fresh kill, the hunters used the tall grass as cover and quietly moved closer. However, the lion quickly noticed their presence. It repeatedly roared, bared its fangs, and advanced in a threatening manner to drive away the unexpected intruders. The hunters quickly spread out to both sides to maintain a safe distance, while continuously drawing their bows and firing several arrows at the predator. After only a few moments of resistance, the lion gradually lost its strength and collapsed on the open savanna. On the way back to the camp, the hunting party discovered a beehive hidden deep inside the hollow of a large tree trunk. They quickly gathered dry grass and lit it to create smoke, driving the bees away from the hive. Once the area became safer, one member carefully reached inside the tree and slowly pulled out the honeycombs one by one. Large golden honeycombs were passed down to the others below, who carefully collected them. After gathering enough honey, the group packed it together with their hunting trophies, extinguished the remaining fire, and continued along the familiar trail back to the camp. Back at the camp, the tribe quickly lit a fire to prepare their meal. The meat from the hunt was cleaned, cut into bite-sized pieces, and placed into clay pots with water to cook over the fire. While waiting for the food to finish cooking, the members took turns adding firewood, maintaining the flames, and watching over the simmering pots. The freshly collected honey was also divided into small portions for everyone to enjoy. Once the meat became tender, the entire tribe gathered together to share the meal and restore their strength after the first hunt of the day. After a short period of rest, the hunters prepared themselves for another journey. Leaving the camp once again, the indigenous hunters entered the sparse woodland in search of another prey. Before long, they found a troop of monkeys feeding on the ground, constantly searching through fallen fruit and dry leaves. Using the low bushes as cover, the hunters quietly split into several directions and slowly moved closer. When the distance became favorable, a single arrow was released and struck one monkey. The entire troop immediately panicked, rapidly climbed into trees, and disappeared deeper into the forest. The hunters quickly collected the captured monkey, secured it with rope, and carried it back toward the camp. After returning to the camp, the tribe began preparing another meal using the monkey they had just hunted. More firewood was added to the fire while some members cleaned the meat, cut it into bite-sized pieces, and placed it into clay pots with water to cook. As the meat simmered, everyone took turns feeding the fire and watching over the cooking pots. Once the meal was ready, the entire tribe gathered together to enjoy the hot food after completing their second hunt of the day. Everyone ate heartily to recover their energy after many hours of traveling and hunting through the forest and across the savanna. The atmosphere around the camp became lively as they continued eating and enjoyed the remaining honey they had collected earlier.
There comes another one.
Whenever they leave camp, the Hadzabe enter a land where one small mistake can leave them without prey or bring them dangerously close to large predators hiding nearby. Across the sun-scorched grasslands and open woodlands of northern Tanzania, they have no firearms, food reserves, or modern hunting equipment. Their community survives through bows and arrows, the ability to read tracks, and knowledge passed down for thousands of years. Here, food is never guaranteed, and every hunt is a silent struggle between patience, instinct, experience, and the wild. In the open woodland, a hunter discovers tracks around a burrow and several fresh claw marks on nearby trees. From these signs, the group quickly identifies the shelter of a honey badger. Although small, This animal is extremely aggressive and can defend itself fiercely when cornered or suddenly threatened. The Hadza push a long branch into the burrow to force it outside, while another hunter waits nearby with his bow fully drawn.
Here comes another one.
As soon as the honey badger appears, an arrow leaves the bowstring with remarkable speed. The hunt ends before the animal has enough time to react. The hunter carefully collects the prey and continues forward because the catch is still not enough to feed the entire community. Hadza hunting rarely depends on luck alone. They study tracks, broken branches, disturbed soil, and wind direction to understand what happened only moments earlier. Moving farther into the open savanna, the hunters discover tracks and droppings from an African warthog. They immediately slow down, remain completely silent, and move against the wind to prevent it from detecting their scent. When the distance is close enough, one hunter slowly raises his bow. At that moment, years of experience and careful observation are focused into a single shot. The arrow strikes its target, but the warthog quickly turns and escapes through the tall grass. The hunters immediately follow the fresh trail. They know the poison on the arrow will eventually take effect, but they cannot afford to lose sight of the animal. Every footprint, flattened stalk, and patch of disturbed soil guides them over a long distance. Finally, the warthog begins to weaken and falls in the middle of the grassland. The hunters quickly approach and remove the prey from the dangerous open area. While part of the group drags the warthog back toward the camp, the others follow the tracks of a small herd of antelopes. They use bushes, low ground, and the direction of the wind to conceal all their movements. When one animal separates from the herd, the hunter slowly draws the bowstring. The arrow strikes its shoulder, and it runs a short distance before falling. There is no loud celebration, only concentration and gratitude for the food they have obtained. However, bringing down prey does not mean the dangerous hunt is completely over. Smells and sounds can attract larger predators from far away. When a lion suddenly appears nearby, the atmosphere changes immediately. The Hadza do not panic or move forward recklessly. They keep their distance, stay close together, and watch every movement, ready to retreat if the situation becomes too dangerous. Protecting the food matters, but returning safely remains their highest priority. In the Hadza world, humans and powerful predators share the same territory. Courage does not mean confronting every danger, but knowing exactly when to advance and when to stop. While the men hunt, the women dig up wild tubers and gather food near the camp. The tubers are placed in woven baskets and shared among everyone, helping the community survive unsuccessful hunting days and endure the harsh, unforgiving dry season. At the end of the day, everyone returns to camp with what they have gathered. The prey is carefully cleaned, roasted over hot coals, and divided fairly among the families. No one receives a larger portion for shooting the first arrow. Children sit beside the adults and listen to stories about tracks, wind, and important hunting decisions. After the meal, songs and lively conversations echo around the fire. If you enjoy survival stories like this, leave a comment and follow the channel.
A thin layer of morning light spreads across the dry land, surrounding a lake in northern Tanzania. In the faint mist and lingering warmth from the previous night's campfire, a new day of hunting begins for the Hadzabe people. They carry no modern weapons, only bows, arrows, and knowledge passed down from one generation to the next. Their bows are carefully checked, bowstrings tightened, and arrow tips are gently warmed over glowing coals to keep the resin coating dry. The poison made from desert plants does not bring down prey immediately, but it is enough to gradually weaken it over time. The Hadzabe men gather in small groups. A few quick glances are exchanged before they begin their journey. Ahead lies a vast and unforgiving savanna. The hunters move slowly, spreading out in a wide line, each step nearly silent. One man kneels to examine flattened grass and freshly disturbed soil beneath a bush. The signs are familiar and suggest that a large python passed through the area not long ago.
A silent killer makes so.
The group continues following the trail. Unlike many other animals, pythons often leave long drag marks across soft ground and low vegetation. After searching for a while, they spot the snake quietly moving through the brush in search of prey. The hunters quickly spread out around it. Once they are close enough, an arrow is released with precision. The python immediately thrashes and tries to disappear into the thick brush. The The Hadzabe do not rush forward. Instead, they wait patiently. As the animal gradually weakens, they carefully move in and bring the hunt to an end. And one cheers or celebrates. For the Hadzabe, prey is not a symbol of victory. It is simply a source of food that helps sustain everyday life. Not every hunt is successful. However, some days they return empty-handed. Success and failure are both familiar parts of life in the wild. Just then, one of the men suddenly stops and looks up. From the edge of the brush, a golden shape slowly emerges. A lion steps into view, its cold eyes fixed on the python that has just been brought down. It understands that the scent of meat means an easy opportunity for a meal. The hunters immediately move forward a few steps and raise their bows in a defensive stance. There is no panic and no attempt to run. For the Hadzabe, the rule when facing dangerous animals is simple. Avoid unnecessary risks, stay safe, and do not create conflicts unless absolutely necessary. The lion pauses and watches. A poisoned arrow could put it at a disadvantage, and it seems to sense the caution of the hunters standing before it. As the sun slowly disappears beyond the deep red horizon, smoke begins to rise from the camp, mixing with laughter and familiar stories shared after a long day. What remains is not the brief encounter between humans and a predator, but the sense of connection that has helped the Hadzabe endure for generations. In this vast landscape, they are not trying to conquer nature. They simply hope for a day well lived, hunting together, sharing food, and returning home side by side. The python meat is divided among everyone, with some of it placed directly over a newly lit fire. Fat drips onto the glowing coals, sending fragrant smoke into the air. They eat with their hands, enjoying the meat while it's still warm, then carry the rest back to camp. Children run out to greet them, watching closely as the adults prepare the meat, tend the fire, and share the food. Step by step, they learn the skills needed to survive in the wild. Around the evening fire, the python meat is shared with everyone, from women and elders to young children. No one keeps the catch for themselves. What matters most is not who made the kill, but that everyone has food and remains together. In the gentle darkness of Africa, happiness can be surprisingly simple. Sometimes nothing more than a piece of meat passed around a fire, and loved ones gathered close beside it. Soft morning light gradually spread across the savanna and the sparse woodlands. The first rays of sunlight slowly illuminated the wide grasslands as many wild animals began searching for food in the wilderness. Back at the camp, the tribal hunters also woke before sunrise to prepare for a new hunting trip. One by one, they checked their bows, arrows, knives, and ropes, making sure every tool was in perfect condition. Some tested their bowstrings, arranged their arrows, and inspected all their equipment one final time before departure. After completing every preparation, the group quietly left the camp and headed toward the vast savanna, beginning another hunting journey in the heart of the wild. Not long after reaching the open grasslands, the tribal hunters spotted a herd of antelope calmly grazing across a wide plain. Using tall grass and the uneven terrain as cover, they silently closed the distance without alarming the herd. When one antelope gradually wandered away from the others to feed farther out, the hunters quickly raised their bows. Several arrows were released in rapid succession, striking the target. Wounded, the antelope immediately turned and sprinted across the open grassland. But after a short distance, it gradually lost strength and collapsed. The hunters quickly moved in, secured the animal, tied up their prize, and began the journey back to the camp. But on the way back, the tribal hunters passed through a sparse woodland filled with low bushes. There, they noticed several small birds feeding among the trees. Taking advantage of a short distance, a few hunters quickly raised their bows and shot down several birds. The remaining birds immediately flapped their wings, scattered in different directions, and disappeared into the treetops. The hunters gathered the birds they had caught and carefully tied them together with the antelope for easier transport. After checking all of their game, the group continued along the familiar trail and quickly returned to the camp to prepare a meal.
Wakimbo aba.
Back at the camp, the tribal group immediately began preparing a meal using the antelope and the small birds they had hunted. They lit a fire in the center of the camp while several members cleaned the meat, cut it into bite-sized pieces, and placed it into pots with water to cook. The small birds were also cleaned and added to the pots together with the antelope meat. While waiting for the food to cook, everyone took turns adding firewood, keeping the fire burning steadily and watching over the simmering pots. When the meal was ready, the entire tribe gathered together to enjoy the hot food and regain their strength after the first hunt of the day. Afterwards, the hunting party prepared to set out once again.
Okay, kebab.
After a short rest, the tribal hunters headed back into the sparse woodland in search of another target. Before long, they discovered a herd of wild boars using their snouts to dig through the soft soil for roots and food beneath the ground. Using dense bushes as cover, the hunters quietly split into several directions and slowly moved closer to the herd. Once they were within range, an arrow quickly struck one of the boars. Wounded, the animal immediately charged through the bushes in an attempt to escape, but the hunters relentlessly followed. After a short chase, the boar gradually lost its strength and was completely subdued.
Dogs being shot with a 375 and
Carrying the wild boar back to the camp, the tribe quickly built up the fire to prepare another meal. The meat was carefully cleaned, cut into bite-sized pieces, and placed into pots with water to cook. While waiting for the meat to become tender, everyone took turns adding more firewood, maintaining the flames, and watching over the boiling pots. The aroma of freshly cooked meat slowly spread throughout the camp, signaling that the meal was nearly ready. Once the food was fully cooked, the tribe gathered together and enjoyed another hearty meal after the second hunt of the day. Everyone ate with satisfaction, restoring their energy after many hours of traveling and hunting through the forest and across the savanna.
The morning in northern Tanzania begins beneath a deep blue sky, stretching all the way to the horizon. There are no white clouds drifting overhead, nor the lively sounds that usually welcome a new day. For the Hadzabe people, this is just another ordinary morning, much like countless others they have experienced over thousands of years. Yet every hunt is a new journey, because in this untamed wilderness, no one can ever predict what lies ahead. The hunt begins without a single command. There is no leader giving orders, no lengthy discussion or carefully laid plan. Each member simply knows their role through knowledge and experience passed down from generation to generation. They carry wooden bows, carefully prepared arrows, and a small knife fastened at the waist. Every step is slow yet confident, so light that it almost blends with the breathing of the forest itself. For the Hadzabe, hunting has never been about strength alone. It is a careful balance of patience, keen observation, and a deep understanding of nature. They pause again and again to listen for sounds so faint that most people would never notice them. A fresh footprint pressed into the soil, a blade of grass that has just been disturbed, or even a subtle shift in the wind is enough to reveal the presence of prey. Every sense is fully engaged. In this forest, a single reckless decision can come at a very high cost. Suddenly, a crocodile appears near the path they are following. The distance is close enough to make the atmosphere instantly tense. Yet no one panics. The hunters quietly observe the animal before calmly changing direction. They understand that courage is not about confronting every danger, but about knowing when to move forward and when to step away. To them, returning home safely is always more important than chasing a single animal. After leaving the dangerous area behind, the hunt continues with its true objective, an aardvark, a secretive and elusive animal known for being remarkably difficult to approach. Finding its tracks is already a challenge, but getting close enough for a clean shot is even harder. One hunter slowly raises his bow, draws the string tight, and releases. The arrow flies swiftly and true, bringing the hunt to an end in a single moment. They examine the animal, retrieve the arrow, and quietly move on. There are no cheers and no signs of prideful celebration. The only expressions on their faces are calmness and gratitude, thankful that nature has provided another meal for the group. When they return to camp, the meat is roasted over a small fire fueled by dry grass and firewood gathered from the forest. No one keeps the best portion for themselves, and no one believes they deserve more than anyone else. Every piece is shared fairly so that everyone has something to eat. This is a tradition that has existed within the Hadzabe community for generations, where the survival of each individual has always depended on the well-being of the group. Their way of life reflects a philosophy that is both simple and profound. The Hadzabe rarely store wealth or stockpile resources for the distant future. They take from nature only what is needed to sustain life, believing that balance is what allows people to endure over time. In their community, wealth is not measured by material possessions, but by the willingness to share and the strength of the bonds between its members. Everyone understands that only when the community thrives can each individual continue to live and flourish. Perhaps that is why today's hunt is not a story of a glorious victory or a thrilling adventure. It is simply an ordinary day in the life of the Hadzabe, yet one filled with profound lessons about humility, gratitude, and the spirit of sharing. In a modern world that constantly urges us to seek more, move faster, and reach higher, their way of life reminds us that true happiness does not always come from possessing more. Sometimes, it comes from knowing what is enough and being willing to share what we have, so that everyone can continue to thrive.
Across the open woodlands and grasslands of Africa, there are still tribes that maintain a traditional hunter-gatherer way of life. Their survival does not depend on machinery or stored food supplies but on whatever nature provides each day. Every hunting trip is a test of patience, experience, and observation. Among the many animals that inhabit this landscape, pythons are considered one of the most challenging prey to pursue. They are not particularly fast and rarely attack without provocation, yet their remarkable camouflage makes even experienced hunters approach them with caution. At first light, a group of hunters leaves the camp carrying bows and a few simple tools. They speak very little throughout the journey. Every step is slow and deliberate, careful not to disturb the quiet wilderness around them. Rather than searching for a python with their eyes alone, they read the signs left behind by nature. A faint trail across the sand or a few displaced leaves can reveal where the animal is hiding. The hunters know that pythons often rest in trees, dense vegetation, rocky crevices, or deep mud to escape the heat of the day. Missing even the smallest clue could mean hours of searching with nothing to show for it. When the animal's hiding place is finally located, no one rushes forward. One hunter uses a long branch to probe the area while the others take positions nearby, ready to assist if necessary. When the python suddenly bursts from its shelter, it becomes caught in a prepared trap within seconds. The first priority is securing the head, as this is the only way to reduce the risk of a bite and prevent the powerful snake from wrapping itself around a hunter. The Hadzabe have faced dangerous animals many times in the wild, but when dealing with a large python possessing both strength and experience, they remain extremely cautious. Once the python has been fully restrained, the group quickly moves it away from the dense vegetation to ensure everyone's safety. For indigenous communities, such a catch is a valuable food source and is rarely wasted. The meat is shared among families within the tribe, while the skin may be used for various practical purposes. The success of the hunt does not belong solely to the person who captured the animal but is distributed throughout the community. This spirit of sharing and mutual support has helped these tribes remain united despite the challenges of life in the wilderness. What truly sets these indigenous tribes apart is not only their courage but also the vast knowledge passed down through generations. Elders teach younger members how to distinguish fresh tracks from old ones, identify the places where pythons are most likely to appear during different seasons, and understand when these reptiles are most active. These lessons are learned through direct experience in the field. For them, hunting is not simply a way to obtain food, it is a process of learning observation, patience, and respect for the laws of nature. Behind every hunt lies a philosophy built upon balance with the natural world. Indigenous hunters do not take more than they need, nor do they seek to stockpile large quantities of food for the future. They believe that nature will continue to provide as long as it is used responsibly. As a result, each hunting trip takes only what is necessary, allowing ecosystems time to recover and sustain future generations. To them, the forest is not a place to conquer but a home that deserves respect. This mindset has allowed them to live in harmony with nature for countless generations. The python hunts of Africa's indigenous tribes reveal far more than impressive survival skills. They also demonstrate a deep and enduring connection between people and the natural world. Every aspect of the hunt reflects a way of life shaped by experience, cooperation, and adaptability. While modern society becomes increasingly dependent on technology, these communities continue to show that understanding nature and respecting its rules remain essential to long-term survival. Perhaps it is this very principle that has enabled them to preserve their ancient way of life for thousands of years without losing their balance with the land they call home.
The Hadzabe are one of the few hunter-gatherer communities that still exist in the modern world. They live among the plains and open woodlands of northern Tanzania. Where food is never fully guaranteed, without farming, raising livestock, or storing supplies for long periods. They survive by hunting, digging tubers, and gathering whatever nature provides. This seemingly simple life depends on knowledge passed down for thousands of years. Before each hunting trip, Hadzabe men carefully inspect their bows, strings, and arrows. Everything is handcrafted from wood, natural fibers, metal, and materials found around their temporary settlements. They choose arrows according to the prey's size, speed, and level of danger. For larger animals, the arrowheads are often coated with a small amount of poison, which gradually weakens the animal and allows them to track it instead of pursuing it through dangerous terrain. As they move toward a patch of dense bushes, one hunter discovers fresh tracks near the entrance of a burrow. The shape of the tracks suggests that a honey badger may be hiding inside, a small animal widely known for its aggression. When cornered, it can suddenly turn around and attack anything nearby. Aware of the danger, the hunters push long branches into the burrow, while the others keep their distance and carefully watch the exits. As soon as the honey badger rushes out of the burrow, the hunter is already prepared. He draws the string, releases the arrow, and ends the hunt before the animal can fight back. No one celebrates for very long, because a single moment of distraction could become dangerous. After retrieving the prey, the entire group continues its journey. For the Hadzabe, success depends on staying calm, observing carefully, and choosing exactly the right moment. In an area of soft ground, the hunters discover fresh tracks and droppings, indicating that a warthog has recently passed through the area. They immediately slow down, speak quietly, and follow the direction of its movement. When they are close enough, one hunter raises his bow and shoots. The arrow hits the target, but the warthog continues running through the thick vegetation ahead. The group follows its tracks and, after a long pursuit, manages to approach and capture the prey. The hunt demonstrates their ability to read the terrain, understand the animal's reactions, and wait patiently for the right opportunity. Not far away, several small tracks lead them toward a herd of antelopes. These are fast animals, highly sensitive to sound, and capable of fleeing at the slightest movement. The hunters observe the wind direction and use bushes and raised ground to conceal their bodies. When one antelope separates from the herd and enters shooting range, the hunter slowly draws the bowstring. The arrow flies accurately, causing the animal to run a little farther before finally falling. However, capturing prey on the open savanna never means being completely safe. The smell of blood and surrounding noises can attract lions, hyenas, or other hungry predators. When they detect a threat, the Hadzabe do not consider confrontation a way to prove personal courage. They understand that humans and predators are simply searching for food. When the situation becomes unfavorable, they are willing to retreat, because returning safely to camp remains far more important than keeping the prey. While the men are away hunting, Hadzabe women search for wild tubers beneath the dry soil. They use long digging sticks to locate them, Then carefully remove them and place them in woven baskets. This reliable food source is especially important on days when hunting produces no results. When everyone returns, the meat, tubers, and other gathered foods are collected and shared equally among the families. Sharing has become a natural and essential principle within the community. When the sun sets, the meat is cleaned, divided into smaller portions, and cooked over fire for everyone to share. The adults also teach the children how to follow tracks, hunt, dig tubers, and recognize possible dangers. After the meal, songs and traditional dances echo around the fire, bringing a long day to an end. Hadzabe life lacks many modern comforts, but the community remains strongly united through sharing in simple joys. Comment on what impressed you most, and subscribe to the channel to follow their next remarkable adventures.
There are some tracks that do not help you find food. They help you escape the shadow of death. One morning in the land around Lake Iasi, a group of Hadzabe hunters was tracking prey when they suddenly stopped. Their bows slowly lowered, and every pair of eyes turned toward a very fresh footprint pressed into the dry ground. Only a few seconds later, the entire group changed direction at once and left the area quickly, as if they had just seen something extremely dangerous. For the Hadzabe, that track was a warning that they were not the only hunters moving through the forest. As the sun rose higher, the group had already crossed the dry, rocky slopes around Lake Iasi. No one spoke. Then, they suddenly stopped in front of a small patch of disturbed earth. Without any discussion, everyone immediately spread out. They were not staring into the empty space ahead, but studying the details most people would never notice. Large prints marked in the sand, a leaf that had just been turned over, or the sound of grass shifting nearby. To them, the forest is like a book that never stops being written, and every footprint leaves behind a line of text. Their first target was a troop of baboons feeding without realizing they were already within range. This is a difficult opponent because baboons are extremely alert. Just one strange sound, and the entire troop can vanish within seconds. The Hadzabe do not rush forward. They wait patiently as each baboon changes position, using the terrain itself to keep their bodies hidden. When the lookout baboon turns its head for only a moment, the arrow leaves the bowstring. The hunt ends very quickly, but to create that single moment, the entire group has waited for dozens of minutes in almost complete silence. But the forest always changes faster than humans can predict. The group suddenly realizes that the air around them has become strangely quiet. The birds grow fewer in sound, the bushes ahead move slightly, and large fresh tracks appear clearly on the dry ground. None of the hunters tries to prove his courage by moving forward. They quietly change direction, accepting that they will walk many more kilometers to avoid the territory of this predator. For the Hadzabe, knowing when to turn back can sometimes be more important than bringing down a large animal. The Hadzabe men understand that the prey they caught today is not large enough to feed the entire community. So they stop in front of a large tree, where the buzzing of bees comes from a high hollow in the trunk. A little smoke is made to calm the bees, and then they carefully take only part of the honey, leaving the hive intact so the colony can continue living.
They got stung.
Farther along the trail, using simple wooden digging sticks, they pull fresh wild tubers from the ground, just enough to add to the day's meal. For the Hadzabe, a hunting trip does not end only with the animal they catch, but with everything the forest allows them to bring home. When they return to camp after a long day of hunting, everyone gathers to build a fire and prepare the food brought back from the forest. What is remarkable is that no one asks who fired the decisive arrow. Food does not belong to one individual. It belongs to the entire community. As they eat, the elders tell stories from past hunts and teach the younger generation how to tell the difference between the tracks of baboons, hyenas, and leopards. These lessons do not require blackboards or textbooks, but they are exactly what has helped this community maintain a hunting and gathering way of life for tens of thousands of years. Perhaps the most extraordinary thing about the Hadzabe is not how many animals they can hunt, but the way they see the world. To us, the forest may look like nothing more than trees and animals. To them, it is a network of countless signals where every footprint, every sound, and every shift of wind carries information. They do not try to conquer nature because they understand that no one can truly defeat the forest. Instead, they learn to listen to it, adapt to it, and take only what they need. Perhaps after tens of thousands of years, that is the greatest survival skill humans have ever created.